In the world of forensic science, even the most ordinary objects can become the key to unlocking the darkest mysteries. This is the story of how a single discarded cigarette butt, something tossed aside without a thought, broke open a murder case that had haunted investigators for years. The case began on a chilly autumn evening in a small suburban town. A young woman was found murdered in her apartment, her life cut short in a brutal attack. The crime scene left detectives puzzled. There were no signs of forced entry, no clear weapon, and no immediate suspects. Family and friends were questioned, but nothing pointed directly to a killer. The neighborhood, once peaceful, was now gripped by fear. Who could have done this, and why? Detectives scoured the apartment for evidence, collecting fingerprints, swabs, and photographs, but nothing stood out, until they noticed something seemingly insignificant lying just outside the back door: a half-smoked cigarette butt. At the time, in the late 1990s, DNA technology was still developing. The sample was collected and bagged, but with no database to match it against, the evidence became just another entry in a growing list of unsolved mysteries. For years, the case sat cold. Detectives revisited it occasionally, flipping through thick binders of notes and photographs, hoping that a new lead might emerge. The victim's family pushed for answers, desperate for closure. But without witnesses, confessions, or strong physical evidence, investigators could only wait. And the cigarette butt, stored carefully in an evidence locker, waited with them. By the mid-2000s, forensic science had advanced dramatically. DNA databases were growing, technology had become more precise, and cold cases were being re-examined across the country. The detective in charge of reviewing this case decided to resubmit the cigarette butt for testing. It was a long shot, but it was their only hope. Weeks later, the results came back. The saliva on the cigarette butt contained a full DNA profile, and this time there was a match. The DNA pointed to a man with a long history of petty crimes, someone who had never been considered a suspect. He had lived only a few blocks away from the victim at the time of the murder. Further digging revealed chilling details. The man had been seen near the apartment building the night of the crime, though no one thought much of it back then. His criminal record showed a pattern of escalating behavior, but nothing had tied him to murder until now. Armed with DNA evidence, detectives brought the man in for questioning. At first, he denied everything. He claimed he didn't know the victim, had never been inside her apartment, but when confronted with a DNA match from the cigarette butt, his confidence crumbled. The defense tried to argue that the cigarette could have been dropped there on another day, unrelated to the murder, but prosecutors knew better. Combined with witness statements, timelines, and other circumstantial evidence, the cigarette became the linchpin of the case. In court, the DNA evidence was irrefutable. Experts explained to the jury how unlikely it would be for such a match to be coincidence. The defense had no alternate explanation. After years of uncertainty, the jury delivered its verdict: guilty. The man was sentenced to life in prison. The victim's family, though forever scarred by the loss, finally had the closure they had waited so long for. The case of the cigarette butt that broke the case serves as a powerful reminder in forensic science. No clue is too small, no detail too trivial. A single cigarette carelessly discarded became the silent witness that spoke louder than any alibi. And for investigators, it reaffirmed a timeless truth: justice often lies hidden in the tiniest of details, waiting for the right moment and the right science to be revealed. If you're fascinated by true crime, cold cases, and the power of forensic science, subscribe to The Minute Detective for more gripping micro-documentaries where tiny clues solve big mysteries. Thanks for watching The Minute Detective. Like and subscribe for more.